Hello, BookTube. Well, yesterday I lived on the edge. I opened mail on camera, just a few packages, and I was rewarded with a mighty present from the folks at Penguin Press. That was wonderful. It served to give me a little bit of a boost to try this again. We're going to try another mail haul, and we're going to do it with more packages this time, and I am just going to try to remember food for thought. I'm going to try to remember not to let any of these things provoke me. It's as simple as that. That could save mail hauls without any other stopgap measure. So let's go through these, see what we can find. Okay, this first one is a finished copy of something that I've already got. I don't remember if I've shown it on this channel or not. Quite a few books I haven't shown on this channel. This is the finished copy of Eliot Cohen's book, The Hollow Crown. Shakespeare on How Leaders Rise, Rule, and Fall. So a meta-study of Shakespeare rather than a study of Shakespeare. A study of Shakespeare that applies him to something else. Perhaps our best teacher on the nature of power, how it is acquired, exercised, and lost, is William Shakespeare. That's a mighty big perhaps. A profound observer of human nature, Shakespeare educates us on the qualities that make a successful leader while warning how power can destroy a leader's moral compass. 4 centuries after his death, Shakespeare's plays continue to inspire and enlighten 21st century audiences, teaching them about contemporary political leaders as seen through the lens of his characters. Okay, you're talking about Shakespearean leaders. I really don't want this pub sheet to go on to mention Donald Trump. So might as well cut to the chase. Vladimir Putin is mentioned, Winston Churchill, Zelensky of Ukraine, George Washington. Okay. Thankfully, we're not scuppered right out of the starting gate. So this comes out in late October, right around Halloween. For those of you who are fans of Shakespeare to the point where you want to know the new books that are coming out that are even related to him, that is one that definitely applies. So now we'll do 2 of these white packages. They're very thin. They may be volumes of poetry. Because I don't tend to get... The only other candidate usually for packages this thin was... publisher catalogs. I don't tend to get those in print anymore. Those are all online now. Oh no, this is a novel. Okay, this is a novel. This comes out in January, so I don't have to think about it right away. It's called A Plague of Souls by Mike McCormick. Let's see here. It's got a blurb from Anne Enright. Let's see here. Mike McCormick used to be known as a writer's writer. Deadly. Absolutely deadly. Let's hope he shook that off. His 1996 debut story collection, Getting It in the Head, won the Rooney Prize for Irish Literature and was a New York Times notable book. Since that debut, he has modestly published 2 short story collections and a trio of novels. The last of these books, 2016's lyrical and profound single-sentence novel Solar Bones, changed his career and won this important writer a lasting and critical popular readership. And here is his follow-up, which has already been named one of the most anticipated books of the year by The Guardian, The Irish Times, and The New Statesman. Like its predecessor, this is both metaphysical yet firmly rooted in the way of our world, its obligations and interconnectedness, but also energized by a terse and tense plot full of intrigue. Neelan, that's the name of the character. I was wondering if we were ever going to get to the contents of the book. Neelan returns from prison to his house on the west of Ireland to find it empty. No heat or light, no sign of his wife or child. It is as if the world had forgotten about or erased him. Then he starts getting calls from a man who claims to know what's happened to his family. A man who will tell Neelan all he needs to know in return for a single meeting. Okay. All right, fantastic. Well, this has blurbs from Anne Enright, Colin Tobin, John Banville, and it has an author photo. It would kill you to smile. You got an author photo. You got a book in bookstores. That isn't making you happy? I guess not. But this comes out next year. So I don't need to think about it yet. And it is a slim novel. So maybe this next one will be the same thing. Can't count on a slim volume of poetry anymore. Let's see what this next one is. Oh, it is. It's another slim novel. Okay, this is by an author I really like. So, or no, it's not. This is not by an author that I know at all. This also comes out in January. A tiny little thing. This is Inverno by Cynthia Zarin. With, I often complain that contemporary romance novels have these absolutely cooker-cutty cartoon covers that all look the same and all look very off-putting. And here is the lit crit version of that. You filled in the faces, but they're very tobacco addict and unhappy. There are faces on these, but it's not much better than the blank mannequin look on the romance novels. Let's see here. Welcome to deep winter, luminously cold, painful to the touch, expectant. Welcome to it in a work of fiction. It's highly unlikely for that ever to happen again in the actual real world. There is brown dirt, wet, muddy dirt, over 90% of Antarctica, which is the polar ice cap of this planet, and running water everywhere in Antarctica. The temperature it's unlikely that we're going to get, what was that again? Luminously cold, painful to the touch, expectant. It's unlikely we're going to get a winter like that this year. That noise you hear is the bean. She is here on the bed with me, and she is going nuts. Just nuts. Near the North Ball Fields in Central Park, Carolyn stands in the snow waiting for her phone to ring. Stands in the snow in Central Park. Ha ha, all right. That already feels quaint. That is not going to happen again. I'm hesitating because Norway, parts of northern Russia, maybe. But Central Park, you are not going to be standing in the snow in Central Park. This is already a fantasy. Yards away and 40 years earlier, the teenage Alistair crouches in the dark, scratching his name with a stick in the frozen dirt. This is Cynthia Zarin's Inverno, and it is their love story. And let's see here. The author is a poet, an essayist, a longtime contributor to The New Yorker. One of those three things is true. And is known for such books as the Ada poems, Orbit, and The Enlarged Heart. Oh yeah, I was just mentioning the Ada poems the other day. She is beloved for her voice, okay, if you say so. And most of all, this is a book that invites our confidences, a story that calls forth our own. It's hypnotic and tender and strange, and like the first breath of frosty air, it will bring you to life. Okay. All right, fine. This comes out in January. I am assuming from the elliptic speak of the pub sheet that this actually has no plot. I don't necessarily need a plot. I don't necessarily require it to have that. It'd be nice, but we shall see. We're doing fine so far. We've got slim volumes of contemporary fiction, but we're doing fine. Let's keep going and see if we can avoid trouble. Oh my, okay. All right, well, we're certainly avoiding trouble with this next one. This also comes out next year. So, what is it? So far, very little that I can look at. I don't look at any 2023 books, in 2024 books in 2023, with a couple of exceptions, and I haven't been tempted yet. Last year, I made this same rule. This rule has been mine forever. Last year, I said the same thing, that under no circumstances am I going to read any 2023 books while it's still 2022. And a couple of books actually overcame that, the momentum of that, and made me do it. I haven't been even slightly tempted so far this year. I don't know. Maybe they're coming. This is wonderful. This is The Writer as Illusionist, uncollected and unpublished work by William Maxwell. So great that they chose that photo. There are so many photos of this author that do not convey. That is wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful. The design here is just wonderful. This is from Godine Press. Don't have a sheet for it. Let's see if it will describe itself. Alec Wilkinson is the editor on here. Selected and edited by Alec Wilkinson. And the editorial director says, while Alec Wilkinson and I were discussing details around the new Godine Nonpareil edition of his 1982 debut, Midnights, I asked him, almost in passing, if he thought there was any uncollected or even unpublished work by William Maxwell that deserves attention. And he said, let me look. And this book is the result of that looking. Alec was given access to boxes that had been packed and sealed when Maxwell's apartment was emptied after his passing. Seeing that place empty. He sifted through the papers for months, and his selections for this collection illuminate new sides of Maxwell, how his personal journal writing informed his fiction, what sorts of notes he kept tacked above his desk, and the fact that, yes, even in a short diary entry about the citywide power outage in New York City, Maxwell could write more elegant prose than most. Okay, so the writer as illusionist. Good on Alec Wilkinson. Good on him. Can't wait. So that is next year, and we are sailing along here. We have two more packages. And then we will be 2 mail hauls in without any screaming at the camera. That is wonderful. Oh, okay, all right, this next one, we are in the clear again. I've already mentioned this to you, but now I have the finished copy. Are you a 2024 release? You can't be. No, October. This is October 10th, right around the corner. I've already mentioned this to you. Some of you are going to like the look of this a lot more than I am. I'm aware that this author, Terry Pratchett, has a lot bigger fans than I am. This is a stroke of the pen. Late Stories by Terry Pratchett. Slim little thing. Introduction by Neil Gaiman. All the rest of these books also have introductions by Neil Gaiman. And when I went to the bathroom first thing this morning, Neil Gaiman was there and said, "Hello, let me introduce myself." So because he turns out introductions like nobody's business. This is a collection of Terry Pratchett's short work. Global best-selling and award-winning author Sir Terry Pratchett was a verified genius at creating magical universes infused with his trademark wit and satirical wisdom. How do you get to be a verified genius? So, who gives you that check mark, and what color is it? 8 years after his death, his brilliance lives on through his sensational Discworld series and the wildly popular Amazon Prime adaptation of Good Omens. Yet long before he became a master storyteller and a fantasy lion, he was a struggling young writer publishing his stories in British newspapers under a pseudonym. And this collects those papers. This collects those stories. So this is Pratchettiana, right? This is Terry Pratchett stuff for a Terry Pratchett fan. So you know the drill. Actually, I shouldn't say that because I am distressed to report that this channel is once again gaining subscribers. For a blissful period there, in fact, for most of 2023, we were hovering exactly in place. It was blissful. Now we're gaining subscribers again. So there are new people watching that haven't watched 6,000 videos or been on a whole bunch of weird Steve streams. So I will reiterate the deal. The deal here is, for those of you who are new, in addition to being a sexy influencer and a prolific book reviewer, I am also a book section editor. I am one of the editors for the online literary journal Open Letters Review, which is the successor of Open Letters Monthly. And I'm also the book section editor for the tiniest print newspaper book section anywhere in the country. But oh my, are we beautiful. The newspaper is Big Canoe News in northern Georgia. We have a circulation big enough so that I could have them all over here for wine and calzones, and I would love to do that. And I am their books editor. Through happenstance, through a wonderful series of events, I am their books editor. And Big Canoe News, bless them, if any of you have ever subscribed to them because you want my book section, you will be able to confirm what I say about it all the time, which is that it is a beautiful production. It doesn't look like a small-town newspaper at all. You get a paper once a month, and it is bursting with stuff. Multiple sections, like a tiny version of the New York Times. And the editor-in-chief, the editorial board at Big Canoe News, bless them, decided a long time ago that they would have a dedicated book section. Not just books as part of arts and entertainment, but books on their own. So, although Big Canoe is very, very small, the New York Times, the Washington Post could lose our entire subscription head count as a rounding error on their own subscription accounts. Even though that's true, there are almost no newspapers anywhere in the country that have dedicated book sections. The Post does. The Journal does. The New York Times does. Can you name me many others? I'm not talking about dedicated arts and entertainment sections that you get once a Sunday. I'm talking about a section devoted to books and nothing else that has its own editor. There aren't many. I would say it's an understatement of the century to say there aren't many, and I'm one of them. So the deal here is that if this interests you a lot more than it does me, and that wouldn't be hard to do. I like Terry Pratchett, but I don't love him, and I know a lot of you do. And you would like to read this, get it in the mail from me, read it, and then write a book review, I would love to run that book review. I would love to publish that book review, either on Open Letters Review or in Big Canoe News. And if you're saying right now, well, I want the book, but there's no way I can do I can't get up to the scratch bar of getting it because I've never written any book reviews in my life, or I've only written for Amazon or Goodreads, and I know that a formal book review for publication is a bigger deal. You need not worry. I will be with you every step of the way. I have helped a lot of people to do this sort of thing. I'm extending the offer. I will review this in October, but honestly, to put it bluntly, I would rather not. Not because I dislike Terry Pratchett, but because I know there's someone out there who can bring a better feel to this author. Not necessarily an encyclopedic knowledge of everything that he's ever written, because that won't fit in a 600 to 800 word review. But the feel for the author. The affection for it. These stories, apparently, most of them were written under a pseudonym long before he became famous. It's a fan of Terry Pratchett that will be able to spot themes, running lines of commentary, commonalities with his far more famous work. Let me know. Let me know. I would be happy to help. And then the last package here, and then we'll be done. We'll be 2 for 2 when it comes to opening mail on camera. All this thing has to do is not offend me. That's all it has to do, is not offend me. Oh my God. All right, this does not offend me. This does not offend me at all. Oh my. I saw some errant notice of this online. I don't know where. It wouldn't be a catalog because I was not on the mailing list for Timber Press in Oregon. Are you in Oregon? Yes, Portland, Oregon. I was not on their mailing list. Didn't know that they existed. I saw a listing for this somewhere, and my eyes shot up like big saucers. And I emailed them. They're wonderful. Absolutely wonderful people. They sent a copy of the Screech Owl Companion. An oversized thing full of color work of screech owls and the things they run from and the things they eat. Oh, lots of other kinds of owls, too. Naturally, this is on my mind because Carl Safina's new book, Alfie and Me, which is really not what I expected. It's brilliant. Everything he writes is brilliant, but it's not. I wasn't expecting it to be the whole universe in miniature. That's the route that you'll take with I Lived with an Owl books. There have been 100 of them, and a lot of them I really like. And you will either use an I Lived with an Owl book as a fulcrum to talk about the universe, or you will use it in very micro focus to talk just about that owl. And Carl Safina not only uses his book as a broader reference point to the whole of the universe, but does it so well, without the slightest hint of affectation or reaching. And it's just, Alfie is a screech owl. So I think that was probably, I just finished that book, my first read through of it, when I saw the listing for this thing, and I really, really wanted it, and they sent it to me. Wonderful. All right, well, I don't have any information on this. There's no slip with it. But I'm assuming this is out already. This is a finished copy. So I'm assuming this is out already. How absolutely joyful. Oh, man. So there's two mail hauls in a row where not only did we not encounter a 40-minute foam-flecked rant, but also where we ended on the best note in the world. So we'll do a Steve Pyramid. We'll get the Screech Owl Companion. This is from Timber Press. This will be listed on Amazon, I'm sure. You could go to their website. If you are an owl fanatic, maybe you've got screech owls in your backyard or on your property, I want to do them a solid and get a copy of this book. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Lots and lots of great photography. I'm sure that it will have thumbnail breakdowns of all of the biology and natural history and evolution of screech owls. Now you know it's out there. And then we have A Stroke of the Pen by Terry Pratchett. Lost stories that have been collected here. A couple of volumes here of lost material. You Terry Pratchett fans out there, I know a couple who make BookTube videos. I would be happy to send this. Then we have The Writer as Illusionist. Lost writings of William Maxwell. How incredible. Oh my, how incredible. I wish this were 3 times as long. Then we have Inverno by Cynthia Zarin. That cheerful couple right there. Then we've got A Plague of Souls by Mike McCormick, where he also is cheerful. He's glowering at the camera. And finally, The Hollow Crown, one of those studies of Shakespeare that isn't really... I'm sure you know the thing I mean. There have been a million books on Shakespeare in the business world. You can go to the business section of your retail bookstore and you'll find them. And also Shakespeare on War and Shakespeare on Plants. It's sort of a meta study of Shakespeare. Those can also be very interesting. It'll depend entirely on the skill of the writer. So we shall see. That is a mail haul for an absolutely gorgeous Thursday. Just gorgeous. Warm in the middle of the day, cool in the beginning and the end of the day. Lovely. Just lovely. And the mail was also lovely. So maybe we'll try this tomorrow. Thank you, BookTube.